Hello everybody, this is Patrick Gibbons, community activist. Hope everyone's doing well. God bless. Today, Mayor Brandon Johnson did a childish executive order. Basically, his plan is to have CPD fight against federal agents. He's using his resources. The real dictator is Mayor Brandon Johnson. And he's trying to use CPD resources in order to fight back federal agents. Not only that, but if federal agents needs any kind of help, of assistance whatsoever, CPD will not intervene to help out. So, because that's part of the executive order, that's part of sanctuary law. All this bullshit liberal stuff. A CPD, a police officer cannot help a ICE agent if they're getting battered by a lunatic, unless they take the uniform off and they punch out. Now they're a citizen. Now they're a Chicago citizen off duty. They can now help an ICE agent. How ridiculous is that? That's according to the stupid sanctuary law. And all these executive orders too. That's literally trying to ban ICE, a federal law enforcement agency, from doing their job. I hope that the federal government indicts Mayor Brandon Johnson and throws him into a federal prison cell. Okay? I've said this before in other videos. I don't know if anyone pays attention, but illegals are in Section 8. They're hidden away, you understand? And the politicians, the local politicians, are doing everything they can in Chicago to hide illegals. And the reason is because that's votes. That's Democrat votes. Even though they have already broken the law, and let me make this clear, perfectly clear, because we got a Pastor Joe at Metro International Praise on Diversity Avenue. It's called Metro International Praise, okay? Something like that. And his name is Pastor Joe. And he said in a recent video that he doesn't mind people coming into this country illegally. I'm just paraphrasing, as long as they haven't done a crime. He doesn't have no problem with that. Well, Pastor Joe, I think you need psychological help. I really do. And I don't really think you're a real pastor. This guy always talks about Trump in a bad way, in a bad nature, like Trump is not forgiven. But this guy has done a lot of drugs when he was younger, this Pastor Joseph, and he's probably still doing drugs for all we know. We don't know. Because he's talking out of his ass, talking about one of the greatest presidents of all time. And Donald Trump, that has done a lot for Christianity, religious freedom, that has done a lot for the pro-life movement, that has appointed 3 Supreme Court justices, okay, that erased Roe v. Wade on the federal level and made it into the state level, right? And what happened was, now we have states with almost total bans or total bans on abortion. And President Trump did that. He did a lot for Christianity. He did a lot for religious freedom. And we have a Pastor Joseph in the diversity area that says a lot of bad things about Donald Trump. Maybe the drugs he did in the past, Pastor Joe, is kicking in. I don't know what's going on with him, but he needs to stop that nonsense talking bad about Trump, okay? Because he's out of line. Because he's catering to illegals that's in the Belmont-Cragen neighborhood. There's a lot of bad hombres in the Belmont-Cragen neighborhood. A lot of bad hombres. And I have called ICE on several people. And God, we have a lot of people still to call on, and a few of them were deported in the Belmont-Cragen neighborhood. In fact, with Operation Midway Blitz, I wasn't involved with any of those calls, over 1,000 Democrat future voters were deported. Thank God. They were deported. And these Democrats, these local politicians, and a lot of them know me, they don't like me. And Pastor Joseph, he probably doesn't like me either. That's okay, because he's a rhino. A lot of rhinos don't like me either. That's why I don't run for office, because rhinos don't like me, Democrats don't like me, Drug addicts certainly don't like me. Drug users don't like me. Drug pushers don't like me. Rapists don't like me. Murderers don't like me. You know, if I have a small circle of friends that's normal and conservative, I'll take it any day, okay? Pastor Joe's no conservative. Any guy that talks bad about Donald Trump, he is not a conservative. That's a good point to take. Because Donald Trump is the Republican Party, okay? He is. And he's doing a fantastic job. God bless Donald Trump. God bless America. God bless these brave ICE agents. ICE, ICE, baby. And for all these executive orders, that's bullshit by Mayor Brandon Johnson, that's aiding and abetting. They're doing everything they can, this local government, and these aldermen should be thrown in jail too, or federally indicted. Okay? And there's a lot of information out there that suggests that these politicians should be federally indicted, including these pastors that harbor illegals in their church, small businesses. They should be investigated for employing illegals, because this, a federal crime, this should not be allowed. And this has happened for years in our neighborhood, and it's been allowed for years. And then it's been allowed for so many years that people think that's the norm, to allow illegals to work in our small businesses, to allow illegals to come into our churches, to allow illegals to come into apartment buildings. No, it's not the norm. It's not the norm. And Donald Trump is putting the norm in place that should have been the norm for the last 20, 30 years, but wasn't. Chicago is finally becoming real again. It's finally becoming legal again, to have legal citizens to vote. And I hate to say this, but it's going to be true. If you had enough legal citizens to vote, then maybe we would win a few elections here and there. Maybe it's because there's a lot of illegals voting that shouldn't be voting, and that's why the Democrats are winning elections. There should be investigations on that. And with that in mind, thank you, Ice Ice Baby. I'm going to buy myself an ice hat. Next video, I'll be wearing an ice hat. God bless you all. Bye.